all the places I have been to in Italy, for some reason, I have never been to Turin. Turin was actually the first capital of a unified Italy during the 1860s, and it still remains the capital of the Piemonte region up until today. My first stop is the Piazza Castello, which translates to Castle Square, and the reason it was called that is because it is right next to the Palazzo Reale, so that is where the Savoy family would reside when they were here, and they wanted a beautiful large square to hold their biggest events right next to their residential grounds. They also made sure that this was home to the Royal Library, to the Royal Opera, to the Palazzo Madama, which you can see right over here. This houses a lot of the artworks that Italy is very proud of. It has a famous staircase and a few little fun facts that I'll tell you about once I go in. For now, I'm having some trouble deciding where I should start my tour and what you guys would prefer to see first. Is it the cathedral on that side? Is it the Palazzo Reale with its ginormous gardens? Is it Palazzo Madama? Or is it me cuddling Tyson? Okay, so I've gone for Palazzo Madama. Palazzo Madama was first built as a gate in the Roman times, and then it became a fortress in the Middle Ages, and then after that it actually served as a residence for the widowing queens of the Savoy family. One thing that you have to be prepared for in Palazzo Madama is a lot of stairs. Obviously there is a lift, but there is a huge group of elderly French tourists, so I've decided to let them have the lift and then take the stairs myself. A decision that I'm almost regretting now. Ooh, what's this? There's a viewpoint? Well, this I didn't know. Okay, you know what? I take that back. The stairs are totally worth it. Look. Okay, so imagine going to a TED Talk or going to see a speech or a performance, and you are greeted with this auditorium. Oh my word. I cannot get over these details. Everything, look. The ceiling, the chairs. Hold on, let me show you the chairs. The wallpaper, the paintings, the doors, the golden doors. Hold on, you guys have to see this. How incredible is this? And Italy is full of places like this. Italy, Spain, France, the history just screams back at you throughout the years, many centuries later. I am basically walking on royal ground now. This is where princes would come to play, to socialize, and to spend time in the fresh air. And what do you know, 500 years later, it's still here for tourists to enjoy. So, as I mentioned before, my next stop is going to be the Palazzo Reale, which is the royal palace. This place used to be the home to the royals of the House of Savoy. We have just entered the room where they keep all the suits of armor. This reminds me of the Wallace Collection, a place in London that I absolutely adore. needless to say, the royals that stayed in this palace needed their own place of worship. So I've come to see the chapel, and I'm a little bit surprised because for some reason I expected it to be a little bit more toned down and minimal, but as you can see, it is far from that. The other thing that came to my mind as soon as I stepped in here is that for some reason it reminds me of a Dan Brown novel. So I don't know why, but I can easily see like the Da Vinci Code or Angels and Demons or one of his other novels taking place in somewhere like this. But for now, I just can't stop looking up. I think I'm gonna have a huge cramp in my neck by the end of today. I find that in all of these construction methods and in all of these architectural designs, your eye is just always drawn up because one of the main points of interest is always the ceiling. So that is a huge piece of advice for when you come here. Don't forget to really take in what's above you at all times. I am now on Via Roma, which is the main luxury pedestrian shopping street of the city. And there's a nice mix of designer boutiques here, so very high-end luxury brands mixed with things like Zara, H&M, Mango, Bershka, and the rest. And this street is also a nice way to connect yourself between the two main squares of the city and some other points of interest. So let's go. Another square that is worth seeing here in Turin is called Piazza San Carlo. Now, Piazza San Carlo isn't quite as central as Piazza Castello, which is the one that we just saw, but it is in fact famous just because of the fact that it was laid out between the 16th and 17th centuries in a rather symmetrical way. So you can even notice the symmetry as you look around today. There is a church on the other side which stood out to me just because of its Baroque facade, and Baroque is the style of architecture that was used primarily during Turin's sort of rise to fame and construction. And it's a church that I am very much looking forward to seeing, just because I think on the inside it is even more grand than on the outside. So let's go and do that. If you remember, in Milan I showed you guys a place called Galleria Vittorio Emanuele. In Milan, it's full of designer boutiques and a hotel, whereas here, believe it or not, there's a cinema. Come. So, Tyson and I were hoping to try something local. Unfortunately, since dogs can't have chocolate, I'll be trying this for both of us. Here I go. This chocolate is filled with gianduja, is that how you pronounce it? It is the local produce here. It is one of the things that Torino is best known for. That was really good. This is milk chocolate, and then this is called fondente. So I'll be sure to finish this by the time I leave, basically, and I'm really sorry that Tyson couldn't have any, but he did have a lot of my bread at lunch, if that's any consolation. And the neighbor's bread, yeah, a lot of the neighbor's bread too. Even ate the neighbor's lettuce. I've had a similar experience in many Italian cities, including Palermo, including Bologna, which I'll link above right now, including Milan, and Turin. And that experience is you walk on the streets that are outside of the central squares, and you think, okay, well, you know what, this isn't actually anything special. But then you go to the central squares and you go to the main cathedrals, palaces, churches, museums, anything that was of significance 300-400 years ago, and you realize that you have just entered this fabulous time capsule, which will definitely help you gain so much more appreciation for the place and what it stood for all those years ago and what it continues to stand for today. So when you come to Turin or to any of the places that I just mentioned, I think it's really important that you take the time to appreciate the city from inside the walls of these cathedrals, palaces, museums, churches, and so on. It really is worth it, I promise you. One of my final stops for the day is Mole Antonelliana, which is this ginormous, incredibly impressive building named after its architect, who unfortunately never got to see the completion of the building because he died shortly before it was finished. And it was originally built as a synagogue, but then later repurposed into a monument, into a museum, and a viewpoint up on the last floor. So I'm gonna go in to see the museum now. I did want to go see the viewpoint, but then I figured I have something even better planned for dinner. So you'll follow me into the museum, and then I'm gonna go to my hotel. I'm gonna show you that too, just because I think it's an incredibly convenient location to stay in the center, and also my room is pretty cool. And then after, I'll take you to my very special dinner. Funnily enough, this museum is dedicated to cinema, which I did not expect. So have a look at this. Inside that old building that looks like it's made out of matches, you're gonna find this on the inside. Part of the reason I really like seeing stuff like this is because when I was about 6 years old, I decided that I wanted to be a cartoon animation artist. I had just picked up drawing, I had just discovered the beauty of artwork and pencil sketches, so I thought I love watching cartoons, I love drawing, so clearly this is the job for me. Slowly that turned into drawing fashion models and clothing, and that's how I got into fashion design about 10 years later. So yeah, a bit about me, but more about cinema. Remember that I told you that the restaurant I'm going to tonight has an incredible view? Well, that is because it is on the 35th floor and I'm in the lift that is going up there right now. My ears are popping. This is a really fast lift. Anyway, I think we've arrived in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And with this stunning Torino view, it is time for me to end this vlog, unfortunately. I know that I only spent a day here and I kind of wish I had spent more time because there's still a few things that I haven't had the chance to see. Thank you so much for joining my little day tour of Torino. I hope you loved this vlog as much as I enjoyed creating it for you guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.